All right, what's going on, everybody? So it's been a little while. It's been a few weeks or something since I made a video, and I just saw this thing in the news recently, and it's just so absurd that people are not putting the pieces of the puzzle together. But so Justin Bieber, if you haven't seen, he's got a partial face paralysis. They say it's a virus, Ramsey Hunt. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. It basically just looks like Bell's palsy. And then his wife, I think it's his wife, Haley, she had a stroke. And so you got Justin Bieber, who looks to be healthy. He's like 28. All of a sudden's got facial paralysis. He's got his girlfriend or his wife, Haley, looks very healthy, 25 years old, has a stroke. Can you think of anything that might have caused this that the media is not talking about? Because this type of stuff is just becoming commonplace, and it seems like the average person is not putting the pieces of the puzzle together, that people are getting heart attacks and myocarditis and strokes and weird like latent diseases being activated within their body, and Bell's palsy and seizures and tremors. And it all seems to be correlated with something, right? Can you think of something time-wise, some nameless thing that you're not allowed to talk about? Could you think of that thing that is maybe the culprit here? Could you think of like maybe there's a VAERS report on the internet that would be correlated with things like blood clots, heart attacks, myocarditis, seizures, tremors, strokes, Bell's palsy. I mean, it's just so obvious. It's so obvious. I really don't understand how people cannot just put the pieces of the puzzle together. Like, don't you know people maybe in your own life, or you got friends that have friends that like everything was good and then they did a particular thing and then everything was not good after that? Because I personally know people who did a particular thing and were very healthy, very energetic, very active, and then after they did this thing, they had no energy even like 2 or 3 months after they did this thing. I know people who never had a heart issue in their life, never even were aware of their heart, and then did a particular thing, and then they started having chest pains after that, and continued to experience some degree of chest pains for months. I know people who did a particular thing, or I know of people like grandparents of coworkers and stuff like that who did a particular thing, ended up in the hospital a week later, ended up dead a month later. I know people who have friends that are 25, 26, 27 that have died for no particular reason. I don't know if you've seen this in the news too. There's a thing called SADS. So you've probably heard of SIDS, which is sudden infant death syndrome. Well, SADS is sudden adult death syndrome, which I have never heard of in my life. And now it's a problem. Like now it's a thing. They're even, trying to make a registry for SADS and document all the deaths in SADS. Like, why are healthy adults dying all of a sudden? Like, is this a thing you can remember at any point in your life, that all of a sudden 25-year-olds start having strokes, professional athletes are collapsing on the field, people who are 20 are getting chest pains, and people who are 25 are dying for no reason? Like, why is this happening? Where'd this come from? Why all of a sudden now? Why kind of all of a sudden for the last year? Is there something you could think of that might be causing this? Something that maybe is cumulative? Something that you don't do once, but you do it at least twice? And depending on where you live in certain situations, you might do it 3 times, you might do it 4 times. Maybe they're even up to 5 times now. I don't even keep track of this stuff anymore. Could you think of anything like that? That maybe there's some cumulative thing that people just keep doing and doing and doing, and it's like they're reaching a threshold of what their body can handle? Why are morticians finding massive blood clots in people on a regular basis? Why are funeral homes doing funerals for 20, 30, 40-year-olds on a regular basis? Like a couple years ago, these sorts of things used to happen every once in a while, and now they're happening multiple times a week. People, I mean, I would hope that people who watch this channel have been able to put two and two together, but if not, I mean, you gotta just put two and two together. I mean, just look at your own life. Do you know people who did something and died a month later? Do you know people who did something and had a heart attack a week later? Do you know people who were completely healthy but then died for no apparent reason? Do you know somebody who was healthy and then all of a sudden had to get a foot amputated because they had blood clots in the foot? And if you do know people like this, can you think of anything they did in about the last 18 months and maybe have done 2, 3, 4, 5 times that could somehow be correlated with all of these problems? I mean, this is an insane time that we're living in. And I talked a year ago or something. I said, I said at the end of Q1, some things were going to start. And we're about Q2 now, and things seem to be really taking off. Okay, there's just going to be more of this type of stuff, more celebrities with this type of stuff, more people with this type of stuff. I mean, you want me to be prophetic? Many of you are going to know people who are going to mysteriously die of blood clots, heart attacks, myocarditis, people who are going to acquire Bell's palsy, people who are going to have some weird latent virus activated within their body, things like shingles and stuff like that. You're going to know people who, like I said, just suddenly die for no discernible reason. What else are you going to know? You're going to know people who... God, I can't even think what else. All the stuff I listed earlier in the video, okay? You're going to see that even more. And so as you start to see this stuff, it's not a correlation. I'm sorry, it's not a coincidence. It's not something for which there's no evidence to draw a reasonable conclusion of what it is. It's pretty obvious what it is. So if you haven't done the nameless thing, don't do the nameless thing. If you know people who are doing the thing that shall remain nameless, tell them not to, tell them to stop, tell them not to do it. If they've already done it, tell them not to do it anymore. If they haven't done it, tell them not to start now. I mean, everything's just about to get weirder and weirder and weirder. So anyway, Justin Bieber's Bell's palsy, his wife's stroke. Come on, we know what caused it. So that's it. Love you guys. Be safe. Aloha. God bless.